Okay, we're on the line with Cory. Hey, Cory. Cory, you're telling us about what's going on in the correctional center?
Yeah. Hi. How's it going?
Good. Lots better than yeah, I'm just grateful sometimes for what I have, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I can concur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never been more appreciative of small things, you know?
Oh, it's true. Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to thank you, for just giving the common inmate a voice with your platform, because we've been suppressed for so long, and we've been muffled by the system for so long and swept under the rug that we're just, it's a good feeling actually just to have somebody like you that can advocate for us, right?
Yes, and I'd like to tell you guys, like, if you're going to be taking word back, like, we've got a lot of people talking. We've got people talking who weren't talking last year or the year before. Like, I think now is the time where people are really, especially with the pandemic, it either makes your heart grow or it makes your heart shrink, you know?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an issue that's bigger than what's going on here. This is an issue that exposes the discriminatory issues that are going on across Saskatchewan, and it's a bigger picture that exposes racism and systemic flaws, systemic oppression here in Saskatchewan, supported by a prejudiced voter base, if you could say that.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that, and I'd also say too, it's like talking to somebody who's recently out of the corrections, out of the pen for he'd done a 4-year stint there, was talking to us too, and they're talking about some of this stuff. It's like it's like a class poverty war too. It's like a war. It's like never being in a cycle of poverty over and over and over and over.
Oh, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, like it's like this. I see it every day. I see it all the time. I'm a product of that system of a cycle of dysfunction, of over incarceration, of rates of recidivism, of getting out to poverty, getting out to of mainstream society that has prejudiced values against a vulnerable demographic, and and these are people that are desperate sometimes, and that are there's a spotlight on young aboriginal men in this province, and I don't think that the public really is aware of this, just because of all the comments being made on the platforms and stuff on our Phoenix, and I understand that because us as Native young men, faced with marginalization, being marginalized from mainstream society, we take things into our own hands, and we become desperate, and we do desperate things, and I don't think the mainstream public has a lot of awareness around circumstances surrounding marginalized people that are desperate and faced with dominant mainstream society that have cultivated prejudiced values towards a vulnerable people with limited skills, limited education, and I really think that the public should be aware of that. And what's going on with this pandemic, I think, focused towards this Christine Tell's actions is just an example of of the government's attitude on throughout history on the treatment of vulnerable Aboriginal people, and the current outbreak, which is progressive in nature, and the government's refusal to act on measures to protect this vulnerable people and demographic that is 85% Aboriginal is an example of 150-year-old colonial suppressions, and I think it should be evaluated as a modern-day act of genocide.
I agree.
On a vulnerable indigenous nation meant to eradicate our people. And these are people with limited skills. These are people suffering.
And
the highest rates of
no, go ahead.
The highest rates of HIV infections is at their doorstep, and their refusal to protect these people by initiating their protocols that they already had to protect them and letting them all get sick is just another example throughout history of things they did to us, of things they plan to do, that they're just an ongoing cycle.
Yeah, I was just talking, I was talking to some people in my family, people I love, and I was talking about, what's going on with you guys on the inside and people who are let out with nothing, and just the abuse of it. And to me, I feel like with the prison system here in Saskatchewan could be seen more as an Auschwitz type extermination camp in a way. Like that's almost closer to the colonial truth of it. Yeah.
For sure, I totally agree, and Saskatchewan is an anomaly because it refuses to sign on to any kind of federal instruments of torture, and I think the UN Declaration on or the instruments on torture by the UN. I don't. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Saskatchewan has signed on to those instruments protecting people that are vulnerable to torture. And
yeah, there's
You have 1 minute remaining for this call.
Yeah, we have 1 minute left. Everything that you're saying, it's something that people are gonna hear, and we're gonna get conversations going, because
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry for my limited access and my limited calls here.
No, not at all. We're just glad that we heard from you. It's good to hear from you and know that something out here in Saskatchewan is growing. Something different is happening. There's different conversations happening now, and I think it's a good time to be talking for sure.
Okay, I will keep you updated.
That'd be great. You take care and know that we're thinking of you anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.